Up next on Fantasia The Talkshow, we have Maeve Higgins with Extraordinary. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I mean, this is really exciting. I believe this is your first feature starring role.
Yes.
Can you talk about how you got involved and kind of the process of making that transition?
Yeah, so it's my first film. My friends made it. That's important to say. And that's also important to say that if you have any friends who want to put you in a movie, it will take a long time, but you should stay friends with them. So I started in comedy and I write as well. And then the two directors, they're called Daddy, that's what they've called themselves. So, but they're two people. So it's Mike and Enda. And they started writing this script about like a lonely driving instructor in rural Ireland with me in mind. But she can speak to and hear ghosts. And as can I. So they were like, Maeve is perfect for this. And then Daddy kept working on it. That's the directors. And it was just weird because like on set we had to be like, what does Daddy think? And it was just like, why? But then, actually they came to Fantasia a few years back, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and did like a short presentation at the
Frontiers
Market. And I think that helped them to get like a little bit of funding to keep developing the script. So we love this festival because it helped to make the movie possible. And so, yeah, I was just like, I moved to New York, even though I'm from, you can probably tell, I'm German. And so I moved to New York, and then they stayed living in London and in Dublin, but we always passed the script back and forth. They wrote it, and finally we got to make it, which is kind of amazing. And we even get to make a movie. As you know, that's really hard to do.
It is. I always say every movie that's made is basically a miracle. Yeah. Especially a feature.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even like an Instagram story takes me a really long time. So yeah, a feature. So yeah, I was very lucky to get this role.
And I mean, you talk about being a writer and also being involved. Like, did you also kind of help with the writing process, or was there a lot of improvisation on the set at all?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. So it was really good for me because as like a comedy person, when somebody writes for you, that's really helpful. Because I think like we probably are not that good at acting. So they wrote it in my voice, and then also I would look at the script and make small changes and come up with ideas, and then also a little bit of improvisation on set. But the thing is, we had a small budget. So it was like, you have to really, like Mike said, every day was like a race. Like, we have to get these things, we have to get these things. So it wasn't like everyone was like, you know what, let's just like smoke and think about it and do another take and like try it this way. But whenever we had room to mess around, we did. And there was really funny people in the movie, like Claudia O'Doherty and Will Forte and Barry Ward. So it was like great to have a little bit of space to fool around.
This is so awkward to say. So, Daddy, when they were, I see your suffering. I see the suffering. But it's really, it kind of makes things more exciting every day. So for Daddy, it's their first feature as well, right? So was it all a learning process for everybody involved?
Yeah, so Daddy, the directors, have been, they've made shorts before, and they're commercial directors, and they were in a band. They're just very creative, and they're very good at like, I guess like technical stuff. Like there's a lot of effects in the movie. Not to break your heart about like the demons and stuff, but those were not actors. Just like really horrific Irish men playing them. No, they were like CGI'd or whatever. So they do have a ton of work experience, but yeah, they hadn't made a feature before. So it was their first one. But they just worked really hard, and as I said, it took probably 5 years to develop it, and to, we had to, maybe in a way it was a blessing because you get a little bit of money and then they'd make a rewrite the script and make a teaser, and then they'd like go and do some like video to entice more funding. So they really had a clear vision of what they wanted it to be, and they storyboarded it all out, and they really kept to that. Even though I didn't notice storyboards until like 3 weeks into the shoot. And then Mike was like, Maeve, these took us like 2 years to do. I was like, oh yeah, oh cool, oh wow.
And for you, like, because you don't have as much of an acting background, and even for actors it's a challenge, there are a lot of special effects. Was that particularly difficult? Or what is it like to be on set when they're doing that?
I mean, what I loved about this was it was a mixture of special effects and then they had like old school things. So there's some haunting stuff, and there's like one moment where the kitchen that we're all sitting in, everything starts rattling and shaking, and that was mainly happening because all of like the art department and all of the like the prop master, they were like lying down with their like feet and hands tied to like fish gut wire and like closing and opening the dishwasher and like shaking the light bulbs and like moving the picture frames. So I didn't have to act. I was literally like, oh my God, this is insane. Because they're just really, they had a good team who like were into that stuff. And then for like, there was like a demon and stuff, and then there's like levitation and everything. So again, it was like a mixture. So like to levitate, one of the girls had to like sit on a bicycle pole, like a bicycle seat that was halfway up like this tall pole, and then this young fella just like pushed it along, and then they just rubbed out the bar. I mean, so I guess the CGI part was the bar disappeared.
But even that sounds difficult. It's like to be like, oh, it's this. There's not a bicycle.
I know, but I was able for that much. I wasn't like, but why doesn't the boy stop pushing her, and why doesn't she get down? Like, I don't have acting training, but I knew enough to be like, they're going to handle this in post.
That's great. I mean, thank you so much for being here, Maeve, with Extraordinary.
Of course.
This
Thanks
has been
for
so fun,
having me.
and I think the Fantasia audience is going to go crazy. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.
It was a fabulous Canadian premiere, and I knew that the movie got started here because it got at the Frontiers. That was the first time it was pitched, and it got funding and it got help from the festival. So it was just such a kick to be here to see it. There was applause breaks. There was people clapping and cheering. It feels incredible. I do a lot of stand-up, so you get an instant reaction. But this movie, we shot it a year ago. I thought it was really funny. We had a really good time on set with the cast and crew, but then to see it in a country that's thousands of miles away with a film audience, because everyone that goes to Fantasia knows their movies. So, and there's a lot of references in this film, and this audience got every one of those jokes, and that was that was so gratifying. So I can't wait to tell the directors.